The United States has around 111 million vacant buildings, according to an article by Brian Potter, owner and author of Construction Physics. To put this in perspective, this equates to 340 billion square feet of building stock, which is about the size of Maryland. Building stock refers to how many buildings are unused. If you're like me, you may drive past these buildings and think, there has to be a use for this. There is. As a response to the increasing importance of sustainability, companies around the country have been choosing vacant buildings as opposed to building on an undeveloped piece of land. America is facing a housing crisis and isn't the first time. Low-income families and younger generations are facing struggles when it comes to finding affordable housing. Over 6 million affordable homes are needed to meet the needs of low-income families. There are 100 million single-family homes accounted for in building stock. While the issue isn't just affordable housing, reusing the building stock we have can be a crucial part to helping house everyone in need. And as population grows, we also need more places for hospitals and offices to provide the resources we need in our lives. Keeping sustainability in mind when expanding or adapting communities as the population grows is crucial. In order to be more sustainable, the building sector needs to rethink the way the system currently works. Luckily, companies have started following the initiatives set by organizations like the USGBC that provide the steps to repurpose buildings in a sustainable way in order to decrease our impact on the environment. The USGBC, or the United States Green Building Council, curated the initiatives that aim to reuse buildings and create a framework that encourages sustainable construction practices. The USGBC is prominently known as the creators of LEED, a certification for building projects that satisfy the restrictions that benefit the environment and the community. As a solution that meets LEED requirements, environmental needs, and community needs, companies have turned to repurposing available building stock. Buildings that have been abandoned or vacant for a long period of time are given a second chance. By reusing the foundations of pre-existing buildings, materials like concrete, aluminum, and steel can be salvaged, preventing the need for these materials to be produced. This is especially important as these three materials, quote, account for 23% of total global greenhouse gas emissions. Furthermore, the use of these materials in undeveloped land has its own negative effects on the environment. The UK GBC identifies the harvesting of construction materials like iron, cement, and others can cause issues like habitat destruction, high water usage, water pollution, and other environmental issues. I had the pleasure of speaking with Randy Crawford, co-owner of Crawford & Stearns, a company that aims to preserve historical buildings. In our discussion, Crawford spoke about the energy and materials saved when deconstructing or reusing a building.
There's a lot of materials that have been dug out of the ground and energy put into, putting the things together, and not wasting that is a pretty common argument.
Crawford had explained that the energy it takes to construct a building would be saved when approaching building stock. That specific energy was quantified in a study that compares scenarios of repurposing versus new construction. The study found that 1.4 billion gigajoules of contained energy and 5 to 70 million metric tons of carbon dioxide would be avoided by repurposing a building. I had a great conversation with Daniel Stazone, Director of Sales and Strategic Initiatives for the Syracuse Land Bank. Stazone spoke with me about the mission of the Land Bank.
We want to see these homes saved. We want good quality housing available for owner occupants and for tenants. We need good quality rentals as well. And we want to get these properties back on the tax rolls to generate more tax base so we can support more programs across the city and our schools and our parks. We also know that one vacant house on the block is going to affect the entire block. So the less vacant homes, the better. The more we can get on the market and renovated, the better.
Crawford had also mentioned some communal benefits when utilizing old buildings, specifically how it contributes to the community's economics.
If you buy let's just say, specialty siding from Oregon to put on a building, that money goes to Oregon. If you spend most of your time spending it on guys who live and work in the community, they go to the grocery store. They spend their money locally. Then the grocer spends that money doing something else locally.
Everything comes with challenges. Repurposing buildings isn't excluded from this. Common construction challenges can be faced like any other renovation project. These challenges include water damage, electrical problems, structural issues, and more. Specific to repurposing buildings, laws, policies, and the presence of toxic substances can prevent old buildings from being reused. Throughout my conversation with Stazone, we discussed the challenges of repurposing buildings. Stazone brought up zoning and the challenges that come with following the zone's requirements.
But anytime a property is vacant for 2 years or more, it loses all its grandfathering status. So let's say there's a 3-unit house that's been vacant for 2 years or more. The zoning only allows up to single and two-family homes. We now have to write a scope of work and require that a buyer convert this 3-unit home to a two-family home. We've had cases where homes were clearly built as 3 units. Like it was clear, original molding and trim, and we have to require that they change that. So that often is an obstacle working within current zoning.
Ownership battles can also become an issue. For example, the old DeWitt Mall in New York had been vacant for many years, during which ownership battles have been fought, until recently, when the county handed over full ownership to Benderson Development, who plans to convert the old shopping mall to mixed-use development, which would include residential housing. Building a brand new structure has plenty of cons as it pertains to environmental and financial costs. Comparably, repurposing the building stock we currently have nationally can be a viable way of increasing sustainability in our lives while maintaining enough space for a growing population. Although repurposing buildings can improve the ambiance of a community, it is important to consider that the construction of these buildings should be appropriate for the income of the community. It is crucial that we prevent repurposing from contributing to gentrification. We need to consider giving building stock and all the unloved buildings a second chance. By giving the buildings a new life, we can save our planet and better our lives.